Let's get the view from Russia now on the Turkish downing of that plane. We're joined by Matthew Bodner from the Moscow Times. Matthew, thanks for joining us. How is this story playing out inside Russia, both on the political and public level?
Well, on the political and public level, it was really quiet this morning. I think everyone was waiting to hear what Putin had to say about that, and that just came through in the last 20 minutes or so. The only official response we saw this morning was from the Defense Ministry, which was playing it cool and tried to divert away from Turkey's narrative that an F-16 shot down the plane, and insisted that the Sukhoi was in Syrian airspace. And in a very non-specific way said it was most likely from ground fire. And beyond that, we didn't actually hear anything from Russian officials until Putin spoke. So his response was actually much harsher than I think was anticipated. In Russian state media, was actually rather mild this morning as well. And I think everyone was just waiting to hear from Putin as to how to play this. And that's what we've seen so far. It's still developing here.
So is Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov still planning to travel to Turkey for the top-level meetings that he was scheduled for, or will that plan be canceled?
I have not seen anything to indicate that he won't. I think I would be surprised if he didn't go, because again, these two countries have a lot of economic relations, and they need to maintain these ties. So I do anticipate Lavrov will continue his trip, but that is subject to change.
So personally, are you concerned with the tension developing here between Russia and Turkey?
Personally, I'm not. I do think that they can try to hash this out and avoid escalation. It's important to note that Russia depends on the Bosphorus as a main supply line for its operation in Syria. And I do think that Moscow in the end will try not to rock the boat too much. And it is in the interest of both sides to try to prevent this from happening again and prevent this from being an escalation point.
Okay, Matthew Bodner, thanks so much for joining us with that from Moscow.
Thank you for having me.